My name is Timea Palotai-Torzsás and I'm the co-founder of Juremy EU Terminology Search. In this presentation, I will show you how you can perform automated text search in reliable EU databases with the Juremy-memoQ integration. In today's presentation, first I will talk about Juremy's gap-filling functionalities. Then I will briefly present database and security. Then I will talk about the memoQ browser plugin and also perform a tool demonstration. The Juremy-memoQ plugin can send the source or target segment of the memoQ grid to your Juremy browser as a query text. So you can automatically see the Juremy results the usual way without needing to copy-paste text between windows. This is a screenshot of the Juremy browser window and the memoQ window on the same screen. You can see that in this row, which is marked in orange, you have a source segment in English, and when your Juremy plugin is activated, Juremy will automatically perform a concordance search on the whole segment, or it's also possible to perform search on a piece of text. So on the left side, you can see the concordance result. I will talk about this in more details. So what is Juremy? Why is it unique? In specialized fields like legal translation and EU translation, the verification of terminology based on reliable databases is an essential task. But it is a quite time-consuming and laborious one too. The translated text should comply with requirements like consistency, accuracy, correct terminology, and referencing, where the role of human expertise is unquestionable. Our online tool Juremy.com was designed to support precisely this workflow by providing instant contextual search results on large databases of EU documents. The tool brings fast bilingual segment hits in EUR-Lex and IATE in all 24 official EU languages. With its gap-filling bilingual search features, Juremy helps linguists achieve high quality in legal and technical translation. With its reliable database and metadata display, Juremy also serves as a verification tool for assessing the accuracy of machine translation output in the post-editing process. So what are the benefits of Juremy? Juremy boosts the efficiency of translation workflow where the research of EU terminology or legal references is essential. With its database of more than 300,000 official EU documents and also the IATE database, the users can review projects based on reviewed and official terminology references and also use these clickable links to provide the reference to the original EUR-Lex resource. According to our research, with Juremy, the time expenditure of terminology research can be reduced to a few seconds per term. So in case of intensive terminology research, Juremy can save hours a day of terminology research. According to academic research, professional translation is quite heavy in terminology research. Experienced translators spend at least 25% of their time on research and digital resource consultation. According to a research conducted based on judgment translation of the Court of Justice of the EU, terminology research made up more than a quarter of the total task time. So we can see that this task is quite a laborious one, and it can boost efficiency if translators can reduce this time spent on terminology research. There are publicly available databases where linguists can look up terminology or references. I listed the most important ones here on this slide. EUR-Lex is the most extensive and reviewed database. This is updated daily and contains all legal regulations, court cases, case law, Commission preparatory documents and international agreements of the EU. However, its user interface is not designed for concordance or terminology lookups. Another very important resource is the Interactive Terminology for Europe, the EUR-Lex, which is also a freely available database of terms. EUR-Lex contains 700,000 entries and 7 million terms, because one entry can have multiple linguistic versions. However, EUR-Lex does not cover all terminology used in the EU translation or in the EU corpus. And finally, InfoCuria is also very important because it gives access to the documents of the Court of Justice with very important terminology. Why is Juremy unique? Juremy's mission is to make this terminology research more smooth for linguists, for terminologists, also for interpreters, because we would like to cut the time spent on browsing in databases so that linguists can spend their time on tasks which requires their expertise more. One of the main benefits is the resources which Juremy uses are reliable, because in Juremy you only search in the document database published on the official legal journal of the EU, EUR-Lex, and the IATE term base as mentioned before. With the fuzzy search functionality in the Juremy concordance view, you can also find the citation which has been slightly rephrased, or you can find references which have been a bit modified, but the key terminology can still be found and be reused. You have different sorting and filtering options based on source of law, different types of court, date or relevance. The EUR-Lex domain preference search makes it possible to further refine your search based on the 21 domains used to classify EU legal documents. For example, agriculture, science, law, or energy. You also have links to original bilingual sources, where you can simply click to copy the EUR-Lex link to your document. And we are very happy to announce that our plugin for the memoQ 11 version has been released. So you can use the Juremy plugin with this version and also for previous versions as well as a beta version. This is the user interface of Juremy. It works very easily and the user interface is quite clear. I will show a demonstration of the tool so you can also see it in action. I have a document which has EU legislation relevance. This is about the European health insurance card, and this document is an explanatory note by the European Commission on modernized social security coordination. Here we have an overview of the legislation and we can see a citation here, so we can try to copy it into Juremy to see if we have any concordance result in the EU corpus. My Juremy interface is set to English-German, but you can set any combinations of the 24 EU languages. By pasting this citation to Juremy's search field, you can see immediately that we have a fuzzy match in a Commission regulation which uses almost the same terminology which our query text contains. So we can use this German version, of course, edit it according to the original source text and provide the EUR-Lex link as a reference in our project. The link will take you to the original EUR-Lex site and in the bilingual view which you set already in your Juremy browser. A few words about the database. So we import documents from EUR-Lex and also the downloadable database of IATE, and these database elements are the treaties of the EU, all legal acts or preparatory documents of the Parliament and the Commission and the various other EU bodies, international agreements, EFTA documents, and the EU case law, so all judgments and opinions which have been passed in the last decades in the EU. Why is Juremy a reliable verification source? So today it's very important to turn to reliable resources, and translators at EU bodies have been selected based on rigorous quality requirements. So this means that all texts which you see on EUR-Lex have been revised multiple times, have been published as part of the official journal of the EU. So the quality measure is very high, and these texts, in all linguistic variants of these legal texts, comply with the highest quality requirements. If you use a reference from EUR-Lex to annotate your terminology resource, it's a very professional thing, and it also provides a reliable resource in your project. It's recommended instead of using an untraceable resource, which might contain not verified parts of text. If the text which you translate contains references to legal regulations, the terminology of these legislative documents must be adhered to. So you would need to look up these in the EU database in any case. In Juremy you can do it very quickly. And also, due to the penetration of AI-generated content on the internet, it becomes more and more important to provide reliable references to maintain excellent quality. A few words about data security and privacy. Juremy finds it very important to provide secure data encryption, and for this purpose we never store the data which you enter in the Juremy search field. So we only keep it for the purposes of displaying the relevant matches, but we don't store it persistently while in flight between your browser and Juremy servers. Juremy is a cloud-based software as a service, which means that there is no need to download any software, and our servers operate in the cloud. Our servers are hosted in the EU, in Germany, so we comply with EU data privacy and personal data regulations. If you are more interested in these technical details of how we prevent metadata leaks, you can read more articles about this on our blog. So this is a concordance search example from French into English, where we had a text with a reference to an earlier court decision. In Juremy it takes a few seconds to find this text in the English version. Juremy also has a term extraction feature, which means that we list all IATE terms within a longer query phrase as well. For example, in this query text, these IATE terms with all the metadata which might be important for your terminology research are listed as well. We can see the reliability code, the owner, so which EU institution issued this term. Here we have the EUR-Lex topic indicators, which I already mentioned. You can also prefer this, so Juremy will reorder your search results by putting the finance domain results first. Also, clicking on the IATE term entry, you will be redirected to the official site of the European terminology with further reference data to perform a deeper research. So in Juremy you can see with one click the IATE results within a longer phrase as well, and the exact or fuzzy matches in the EU corpus at once. So what are the benefits of the memoQ integration? If you enable the plugin, so if you have a Juremy access, you can download the plugin and use it together with the memoQ tool and use the EU corpus as a quasi-TM in memoQ. The plugin provides an interactive cooperation between the browser-based Juremy tool and memoQ, where your search query can be automatically a segment or a shorter part of the segment text. The plugin will immediately show whether a translation of a sentence into a target language or its fuzzy match exists already in the EU corpus in your target language. Now I will demonstrate how the plugin works in practice on two documents which have EU legislation related terminology. And now let's see how the Juremy integration works in practice. I have a translation project with the same text, which I showed you during my presentation about the European health insurance card. The source language is English and the target language is set to French. I already enabled the Juremy plugin by clicking on TM plugins in memoQ. Here you can see that the plugin is enabled. About the steps which are needed to do this, please read our user manual on our webpage. So on the right side on my screen I have a memoQ grid, and on the left side I have my browser Juremy interface, and from this green line under settings you can see that Juremy is listening for search push. It means that the search triggered in the memoQ grid will be recognized by Juremy. I show you how it works in practice. So let's choose a segment and we simply click in the target, and in this case Juremy automatically copies the source segment into the search bar and performs a concordance search on the whole segment in the Juremy database. Here the compact view is enabled, so it's easier to see the text. But if I switch to full screen, you are able to see all these metadata and settings and filters. We can also enable the IATE functionality, where all IATE terms recognized within the search segment are listed. But to save screen estate, we can also disable this. And we will be able to find fuzzy matches. For example, in a decision about the health insurance card, so this is a relevant reference for us. Then we can simply copy this text into the cat tool source segment and then edit it, of course. Another example, here you can see that we also have a nice match where we can use that part of the segment which is relevant for us. Also, to demonstrate the IATE listing feature, I will look for a segment which is full of IATE terminology for you to demonstrate what you can find very quickly with Juremy and how efficient it is. So here, this segment contains plenty of health-related terminology, which you can see on the left side that immediately we have the IATE terms listed here. Also, we have multi-word expressions like temporary stay, which is the subject of this document. Also, we can find the legal expressions. And here we can do further research by clicking on the IATE ID, as I mentioned before. We can enable the color coding for the domain names, or just switch off the side panels to save screen estate. I have another project for you as an example. This is the AI Act, the final draft, which contains terminology of the previous version of the AI Act. So here you can see immediately, if I click in this segment marked in orange, we have an exact match from the previous Commission proposal for the AI Act. However, this document, which I am working on in memoQ, is a corrigendum to the original proposal, so this will be slightly different from what is already included in the EUR-Lex database, because this document is still is worked on. It's not a final published text in this case. So for example, we have a segment full of titles of legislation, which might be a time-consuming task to look them up one by one. So here we can just look up these regulation names. Also, it's very easy to find names of institutions or legislative bodies. And here, this segment contains a lot of regulation names, which can be easily copied from here. So you simply see all IATE terms within the segment. And if you are lucky, you will find some fuzzy matches in the EU corpus as well. So this was my demonstration about how the Juremy-memoQ plugin makes the terminology research work for linguists more efficient. If you are interested in trying Juremy, you are welcome to sign up for our 14 days free trial on juremy.com. You can choose a freelance or a team account as well, and cover all functionalities, including the memoQ plugin. I hope to see you soon, and thank you for attending my presentation. Bye bye!